today we're just going to take a quick look at some of the UEFA qualifying rounds. Of course, this is different than the group stage of the Champions League, Europa League, and Conference League, and it's a fact that's underappreciated among many fans. Whether these clubs tending to be from, say, Eastern Europe or micronations, as well as the fact that it's very tough to actually watch these games. For example, Paramount in the US isn't broadcasting them, uh, and you're dependent upon the mercy of honestly the club's social media admin if they have a YouTube channel to watch the highlights actually. But nonetheless, that's what we're here today to do and help take a quick look at some of the qualifying rounds that have come so far. And of course, these matches are just as important for coefficients, uh, for the UEFA coefficients, which affect how many teams countries get to put forward into these qualifying rounds, right? There's a reason why England gets to put 8 clubs into, or potentially 8 clubs into continental football, whereas say Belarus doesn't get the same liberty, say for Northern Ireland or whomever. So the qualifying rounds, they do matter. They matter for coefficient. Of course, you can get clubs qualifying to uh, the big competitions like Klaksvik of the Faroe Islands making it to the Conference League, uh, and getting some results against say Lille of France. So it's kind of crazy when you think about like one island on the Faroe Islands. And so starting with the Champions League, we must work our way down. Of course, like these rounds haven't finished, but this will be able to give us some interesting previews at some of the matches ahead. Starting with some Champions League qualifying, I believe that's a Hungarian club. Excuse me, Lithuanian club beating the Finnish. Might be surprising. Gibraltar beating an Irish club. TNS feels like Wales. Yeah, Wales. The New Saints beating Montenegrin. Montenegrin. Um, Balkani, I believe Macedonia. It's interesting this information because Balkani were playing in continental football last season in the Conference League. Iceland, Thai, Bucharest, Flushing Virtus, Petro Club, Romanian, I believe, or Moldova, excuse me. Petro Club upset, of course, in Moldovan football. You have Sheriff Tiraspol, who, of course, famously beat Real Madrid in Madrid, I believe in like the 2020-21 season, uh, around COVID times. And of course, the surprise was that the Petro Club took a trophy away from Sheriff Tiraspol. Stand out. I believe it's the Slovenian team, Selja. Yeah, Slovenian. Yeah, there we go. Beating Talon of I'm not gonna, I believe Estonia, Talon, Estonia, Lithuania. Um, Polish, Slovan. It should be Polish. It's actually Slovakia. I mixed up with Rakow. Slovan beating Struga. Here's Klaksvik showing up. Ludogorets of Bulgaria beating Georgian team, Dynamo Minsk. Of course, it was just the first round, right? So of course these are just like knockout football, 2 rounds. So I say in this first round, nothing too surprising. Maybe HJK of Finland being trounced, and maybe this one just because it is literally a team from Gibraltar. I mean, probably Bucharest, one of the bigger clubs in this Champions League, qualifying Slovan. Of course, we're playing in Europa Conference League. Um, Ludogorets playing in Europa Conference League, same with Klaksvik, although Klaksvik, of course, is different. And so that was round one. On to round two. Now, this is surprising, right? This San Marino club I believe it's San Marino. It's one of those like cities, micro cities or city states, coming back to knock out Balkany. Uh, to the Gibraltar club surviving on penalties. I mean that's definitely an upset, just because it's literally Gibraltar. Uh, Bucharest knocking out Shamrock Rovers, holding off Vikingor Reykjavik. I think that one is a bit. It could be a bit noteworthy, just given that it is an Irish club. Um, Iceland has a decent, a pretty decent football infrastructure. Breidablik from who were in Europe last season in the group stages of the main competitions, decent performances. The New Saints hold on of Wales. That's pretty big for Wales, given that the Welsh coefficient. Uh, if we check it, is 52, right? 52nd, and a lot of that is right because like the Welsh league is very much second, honestly like third fiddle to like Scotland and England. But just put context, right? Like San Marino, Gibraltar, Montenegro, Wales, Andorra, Macedonia, Belarus, Estonia, Albania, Georgia, right? So this list might surprise people of like what close, right? Maybe you wouldn't think that, say, like Bulgaria or like Cyprus would have. Who knows how far Russia is gonna keep on going down? Like personally, it'd be I enjoy Spartak Moscow. Just given like the Spartacus and workers history. It's pretty cool. Or honestly, for all those Eastern European uh, club etymologies, which I believe I talked about in a previous video. Um, all right, but yeah, yeah. Like, would you consider like Scotland to be like a top 11 league per se? Probably not. Maybe you'd associate. Uh, yeah, it's like Russia should probably in normal state be higher up. Actually, let's check. Where was Russia? Yeah, Russia like a top 10 league pretty consistently. And then of course dropping. So some context again, and that's why these qualifying rounds matter, right? Because you can see here that these clubs they do earn coefficient points, so this stuff does matter. Slovan holding on, Petter Club holding on, Dynamo Batumi not enough, so it's tough for Georgia. Klaksvik holding on, Arfas Latvian maybe, yeah. I mean Northern Ireland, yeah. And also, weird thing is right, 'cause some of these clubs, right, some leagues are like they run during the summer, say like your Scandinavians, whereas others, or like Iceland, whereas others run on like the traditional August to May setup, and so you do have then some awkward timing. On to the next round, Bodo Glimt of Norway, smashing said, was it a Latvian team? Polish. This is actually a bit surprising because this Polish club was uh, was in the second tier, I believe, not too long ago. And so for them to come in, or like they won like the Polish Cup competition to get qualification to Europe. So for them to come in and smack in European qualifying is pretty interesting. Karabag against the Gibraltar club. Again, Karabag, right, very super close to knocking out Bayer Leverkusen. It's a bit harsh for them. But yeah, that was a Karabag, a sneaky club. Uh, Nicosia, Greece, or Cyprus. Taking, of course, it's only first round, right? So we don't know what the second is. FCS Bucharest versus Maccabi Tel Aviv. Draw. Kiev, Dynamo Kiev beating Partizan that badly. It's a bit surprising. Ferencvaros of Hungary smashing the New Saints. As you expect, Malmo, Klaksvik, of course, right? Malmo, Swedish Giants, quote unquote, last season, right? They were pretty close against Galatasaray in the Champions League qualifying. Lugano Fenerbahce. Now this was a big game, and to the prior point of like this of the seasons not being aligned, right? And so like Fenerbahce, right? Jose Mourinho, but you don't have the most time and preseason of players playing in the Euros or international competitions. So this one was a pretty entertaining game to watch, and honestly, it's Fenerbahce, right? Uh, who have a bit of a like a collapse sheet. So honestly, out of these matchups, like Lugano, Switzerland versus Fenerbahce, Turkey's the big one, where like Midtjylland of Denmark smashing at a San Marino club, not too surprising. Sparta Prague beating Ireland, not too surprising. Uh, yeah, so Lugano Fenerbahce is the big one, and then PAOK of Greece. It really shouldn't have been that close. Like it was as we'll see, it was a tough week for Greek clubs. It really should have been against a Bosnia club from one of the big Greek clubs. Uh, this one may have been interesting, but then Ludogorets beating Dynamo Minsk, not too surprising. Uh, imagine Karabag sweep away Lincoln. Firstly, I favor Petra Club. Excuse me, Nicosia to get past Petra Club. Honestly, Fenerbahce, conceptually, Fenerbahce would be more interesting than Mourinho in the Champions League and with the new format. That should be pretty interesting. Um, but it is Fenerbahce, so I I give the edge to Fenerbahce as favorite. That's one goal lead, and they're going back to Istanbul. That should be interesting, and honestly, there should be some good entertainment. Sparta Prague, definitely. Ferencváros, all favors. Bratislava, and then Ambo holds on. Onwards, Bodo Glimt finishes. Midtjylland finishes. I favor Bucharest. There's always some controversy over is FCSB or Bucharest connected to Steaua Bucharest, just given like which team or which club can take that mantle. Personally, I'll favor Bucharest over Lokaba, Tel Aviv. Yeah, Kiev is gonna see through Partizan. Again, not a great showing for Serbian football. As Serbia, right, 19th, not great. Ludogorets holds on, and yeah, if PAOK can't hold on to it and see qualification, that'll be devastating for the Greek coefficient, especially with all of the good work that Olympiacos did or all the Greek clubs did last season to get into a top 15. Because honestly, like being top 15 is a big. It's like you want to be top 15. This is kind of where there's like a small step function and like the benefits you get is the general consensus. Dynamo Kiev versus Rangers in the next round. And that's interesting. Of course, Rangers managed by Philippe Clement. I mean, Kiev they did look good against Partizan, and it's Rangers who haven't been great the last season. I don't believe they've made too many reinforcements. So honestly, I'll give the edge to Dynamo. A bit tough. Between Leo, I favor Leo over whichever Lugano or Fenerbahce. I think Leo have a. Although there have been decent chunk of signings, but that's toughy. Definitely favor Leo over Lugano. Although of course there's always some just implicit commentary on just the national comparison. Fenerbahce is a bit tougher. I mean, Lille still has their midfield, whereas that's a tough one. Honestly, Mourinho knockout football, maybe that gives the edge, but yeah, not high conviction. Out of this group, I expect Karabakh to get past Ludogorets or Minsk. Given I haven't watched the PAOK game, but like conceptually, I prefer PAOK over Malmo. I think Malmo, just given how PAOK has struggled and not really any big movements this summer. I would expect Bratislava to get through. Salzburg over Twente. It would be great for the Dutch club to beat Salzburg. Red Bull, right? And that'd be great. It's probably going to be Salzburg to get through. And I certainly expect Sparta Prague. Right, Sparta Prague, right? Knocked out Galatasaray. Uh, Pretty good performances last season against Rangers, with Sparta, Slavia against Slavia. Really, honestly, if it wasn't for some red cards against Milan, like Slavia, honestly, Slavia were outplaying Milan uh, in the knockout round last season, right? And then smashed Roma a couple of times. So I favor Slavia over the Belgian Union Saint Gillois. And then I expect the Danish club, Midtjylland, to get past Ferencváros. The second round. So that's Champions League qualifying. Uh, and of course, I'm not fully aware of all the details, but if you get knocked out, does it mean that you're out of European football? Like at a certain stage, you'll drop down into like if you're knocked out Champions League qualifying, you'll drop down into Europa League qualifying or something like that. It's a very complicated process because there's like champions paths and qualifying path, and all of it involves like coefficients of your club and also like your national coefficient. So it's a pretty complicated process, way more complicated than anything in the U.S., which I think is a good thing. Again, just given uh, the many critiques that can be made of American sports, uh, but discussion for a later day. Elfsborg, Sweden. Sweden. There you go. The differences between Norwegian and Swedish names. Uh, Paphos, which sounds uh, Cypriot. It can vaguely sound Greek, but I don't recall. I don't recall seeing that in Greek League. Here is Sheriff Tiraspol losing to Azerbaijani. That's pretty surprising. Paxi, Hungary. This was actually pretty surprising because Cornville, like Romanian club, that's pretty surprising. Uh, Uzombrok, Slovakia, is it Kazakhstan? Yeah, this is what it is. But it Plovdiv of Bulgaria, I want to say, beating Maribor, Slovenia. Maybe that's a bit surprising. Just given that Maribor is is a big Slovenian club. Polish beating. I imagine Lapi's like Finnish. Not too surprising. And as we see, right, Polish clubs get it through. I forget the country. Slovakian club holds off to Kazakhstan. Elfsborg, uh, Sheriff comes back. So what you'd expect. And the Bulgarian club holds on. Rapid Wien, Austria. Expect Trabzonspor, Turkey. What you'd expect. Draw Sport. Kind of. Here's Molde. Different from Malmo. Beating Silkeborg. Because Molde is Norway. Silkeborg is Swedish, and Molde is Norway, whereas Malmo is Swedish. Panathinaikos of Greece beating Bulgarian club as you expect. Ajax only beating a Serbian club 1-0. Of course, Ajax were in a disastrous last season, but they managed to pull back. But again, not very inspiring result if you take a look at what the performance was. Right, like clearly Vojvodina getting chances. So it seems like Ajax under Farioli still have transition to do. The Belgian Cercle Brugge is run as Kilmarnock of Ireland's interesting, and Braga beating Tikva is what you'd expect. So nothing too much to add. Like VN, Ajax. I'll recheck. This one's tough actually. It's because like both clubs are a similar caliber national leagues, right? Croatia, Poland, right? Very close. Uh, I'll say like Rijeka, Croatia. I would certainly expect the Belgian club to get past the Irish. But I think that got hold on Trabzonspor to see off, Braga to hold off, Molde, and Elfsborg. Yeah, and here, right here, we see some of the clubs that dropped down, which does make it a bit confusing. Between Braga and Servette, I give the money to Braga. Although, of course, Braga had that collapse against Karabakh, but I think Servette versus Braga, I favor a Portuguese club. Uh, Here we right, and so here we saw Lugano and Fenerbahce in the Champions League, and so whoever loses drops down. So this is why we have. So it gets a bit. This is why it's confusing. Ukrainian club versus Victoria Pilsen. It's only flavor Pilsen. If Panathinaikos runs into Ajax, oh, honestly, I would expect Panathinaikos to hold on. But if Panathinaikos drops down, uh, yeah, certainly favored him over Ajax, which isn't something you expect to say, really. Similar matchups. So that's Europa League. And then we have, last but not least, conference qualification. So again, right, in a sense, right, if you're smaller clubs, smaller countries, generally as we work our way down, and small to the degree that uh, Foot Mob doesn't really have information on these guys. Imagine that's like again one of those like city state clubs. Sarajevo, uh, Serbian, excuse me, Bosnia. I hope I didn't offend anybody. Uh, Sarajevo, yeah, I guess it's not Serbian. Yeah, uh, yeah, it's certainly a mix-up. Yeah, yeah, see, Serbia, yeah, because Belgrade's the Serbian capital. So here's Vikingor, uh, Bruno's Magpies. That's really interesting. Pretty sure that's Gibraltar. Be Irish. I believe it might be Northern Ireland. Interesting. Okay, it's like some of these names are like Kana's Quay Nomads. Like like you can tell again, like it's like a Gibraltar club, like is what it is. This one's a bit interesting. And Bride Bleak, who were in Europe last season, losing to a Macedonian club. Kind of interesting. especially when the Icelandic League is ongoing. Another Icelandic. Big win by the Finnish club. This one's surprising for Mostar to get knocked out. Demonstrably in their club. Andorra. Yeah, that's quite surprising. For Mostar to get Bosnia to get knocked out. That's interesting. Oh, excuse me. Sarajevo holding on big for Serbian coefficient. Kazakhstan. Right, did they come back? Did they come back against Macedonia? So good for Breidablik, or excuse me, uh, Breidablik. Balkani, Irish. Maybe you expect a result. Nothing too much. Tallinn, Estonia. Riga, Georgian club losing to Montenegrin. Not great. For AEK Athens to collapse against Inter club, this is bad. This is undeniably poor for one of the big Greek clubs to choke and make it a dodgy affair. Going to Andorra, I mean, that's not great. It's not great at all. Copenhagen smashing Magpies, what you'd expect. Astana of Kazakhstan versus Moldova. I certainly favored because Astana is the biggest Kazakhstan club. Partizani. Albania. Iberia. Georgian club. Good for Georgia. Congrats to Rownby feels Norwegian. Although they're Danish. Again, maybe that's a very bad mistake. Vitória de Guimarães of Portugal, holding on to what you'd expect. And of course, Guimarães, right? The joke in Portuguese, or it's like a lot of like Aish, like Bruno Fernandes instead of Fernandez, or like Dragao. Let me picked up on, probably very incorrect. Israeli club, Ljubljana, Slovenia beating the Ukrainian, Hungarian beating Dnipro of Ukraine, right? What you'd expect. Again, it's like, I'm not sure enough about what Puskas. Of course, Puskas, right? The famous Hungarian footballer. Maccabi Haifa getting smashed by an Azerbaijani club is interesting. Like, you wouldn't expect that, given some of Haifa's decent run last season. Cluj tying with Grodno, Belarus. Is really what you expect from one of the bigger Romanian clubs. Here we have another Eastern European and Bulgarian club hold on to business. Turkish club, Istanbul, doing this job. Radniki of Montenegro. Serbia, holding on. Belgian club, smashing the Icelandic. Hungarian club, smashing the Cypriot. Cypriot. Maybe that's a bit interesting. Pack C. Maribor Slovenia beating Craiova. Fields, Eastern European, yeah, Romania. Lazio Warsaw smashing. That sounds like an Irish club. Excuse me, Welsh. Yeah, honestly, yeah, the nice thing about football is that like you just develop a better sense for geography of places, like naming conventions. So there's a lot of positive externalities to following and caring about football from like a finance, business perspective, like a cultural geography perspective. It's a decent thing. Liechtenstein club was in St. Patrick's, Irish, kind of surprising. Sarajevo versus Serbian club. Excuse me, Slovakian. Interesting. And Breidablik losing to Drita. That's interesting. It's my favorite Icelandic. So here we have the next rounds. Then we have some new rounds. I expect Astana to go through. Or excuse me, these are the same rounds. In fact, we've already played one. Puskas holding on against Ukrainian. Yeah, honestly, again, like for AUK Athens to not hold on to Inter, they're a pretty nice run in, I'd say, to get past this next round. Yeah, I guess it's kind of hard to see out, but that's been a quick run through of continental European football as we've gotten uh, uh, roughly to the end of the second round and beginning of the third qualifying round, which is generally the last round, uh, excluding whatever playoffs happen. So again, I just say this. I just want to highlight this just because, like I think the football is very different at these stages. Like obviously, of course, given like different budgets, but also you see way more diversity of playing styles, players, and countries, which I think makes this a very nice change of pace. And it's a real shame that it's very hard to watch these games. It's a real shame that compared out to like where like the top, it's like your top clubs in the Champions League, with the exclusion of say Real Madrid, like they play a pretty similar, possession and pressing type of style. Whereas here, right, very different. So yeah, I think there's a real charm to these qualification rounds. Yeah, and like these smaller countries and smaller clubs getting a chance to earn real coefficient points. Right, I think that's something that's like something concept like this. It's like it's structurally missing from American sports, or it's like relegation, the bigger sense, or just like this small scale. Like for MLS, we only have 31 teams to represent the entire country, and then like you have the USL, of course, but it's different, right? It's just like scale, and I think this is something that's. But anyways, thank you for watching. Uh, Again, you can follow along using FUTMob if you want to use SofaScore. Uh, but let me know if you have any clubs you're cheering for, and